G'day, thanks for watching. Let's take a look at Bitcoin. It seems like Bitcoin's been really struggling to get up and away. This is the weekly. Bring in some data. And nothing overly substantial. I was certainly expecting a more rapid bounce, but we haven't got it yet. And just a word of explanation about these blue lines. These are what I call my forecast lines. I put them on and I never shift them. So it provides me with an opportunity to look back and learn from a forecasting perspective. So how good was my forecasting in the past? That's important to me because if I can't determine coming trend, in fact, it applies to everybody involved in trading or investing. If you can't determine coming trend, I think you're just a gambler. You're probably making things up, using all sorts of different things to kid yourself that, yes, you should be long or you should be short or you should be getting in or you should be getting out. So these blue forecast lines are my attempts in the past and currently into the future where I thought trend would go. So let's take a quick look at it. Well, this first one here suggested that price would go up. Now, it's important to understand that I am not dealing with price. Price is secondary to time. So what I was saying was that this would go up, there'd be a high somewhere, then there'd be a drop, then there'd be a lift out, and you notice there's a gap. There's a gap at the high, there's a gap at the low, because these are indications of coming trend. They're not meant to be exact forecasts. The exact forecasts are done here and now, not sometime out into the future. And so we look at the weekly, we look at the daily in particular for the here and now. Anyway, when you run your eye over these past blue forecast lines, you can make up your own mind how good my forecasting has been. And in some instances, I think it's been pretty good. So if you look at what happened here in the initial lift out, that was great. Called this next low pretty well. Didn't really call this high because this thing fell over into a low here. Didn't call that low very well, but got the lift out, got this next low okay. And look, I'll leave it to you to work your way through that if you're interested. The important thing is what I think's coming up. So this bounce out is based on after plunge, we get bounce. And that's what the cycles say. So if you look down here on the umbrellas, you can see that we'll talk in terms of colours, the blue umbrella was saying down, the magenta umbrella was saying down, and price went down. So then once the low is made, the blue umbrella is pushing up, the magenta umbrella is pushing up, and of course these umbrellas are representative of the cycles involved in this market. So on this push up, you can see I've got a blue forecast line saying I'm expecting that price will go up. Now, the one thing that I haven't included are forecast lines into this next magenta low. Now, this magenta low, you can get the numbers over here. I call it the 16-week. And the blue cycle, if you like, I call the 8-month. So I haven't got forecast lines into the 16-week low because I'm expecting that there's going to be a really big drop out into May come August 2026. And why am I forecasting such a large drop? And why am I ignoring this little 16-week? Well, you've actually got to go back onto the monthly to see why I'm expecting a large low. So here we have the 4-year. And if you have a look at what's happened on the 4-year, we can't really get back into the minutiae back here, but what this market does is it builds itself up to a high and then drops into the 4-year. And that drop is quite substantial. Anything up to about 80%. Then what does it do? Well, it builds itself up and up and up and up and up, and then has a huge drop. Again, anything up to about 80% drop from the high into the 4-year, where the 4-year low's due. Well, guess what? We've got a 4-year low due over here. Now, hopefully, my blue line is making some sense. And what will happen after that? Well, it'll lift out. And I'm also suggesting that there'll be a drop into this next 15-month low. That's on the monthly. We come back to the weekly. That's why my forecast line is going so far down. But it's really looking at this nest of orbs here where all these cycles are expecting to have their lows. All right, let's go to the daily and finish this up. Bring in some data. Now, as you can see, this is sort of just, well, it's hesitated at this stage. Not a very strong lift out at all. I've got a downward sloping trend line here. A cross of that will just be a further confirmation of this low, but I'm pretty sure that this low is the 8-month low, the way that it's behaved. Okay, so we wait and watch. Thanks for watching.